Nothing but truth on AFR Talk.
Welcome back, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk. Great to be with you. And we will right now go to our good friend Jim Hoft, the Gateway Pundit. And Jim, great coverage of the news as we know it from the beginning of the attacks to today and the follow-ups on the interviews and forums that the president as well as Mitt Romney were a part of. It's great to have you on. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, Crane. Great to be back.
I wanted to begin with you with a apology that was paid for, according to a story on your website, by our State Department, meaning taxpayer dollars went to this message to Pakistan from President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. This was last week. Roll it.
Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others. But there is absolutely no justification to this type of senseless violence. None.
Let me state very clearly, and I hope it is obvious, that the United States government had absolutely nothing to do with this video. We absolutely reject its content and message. America's commitment to religious tolerance goes back to the very beginning of our nation.
So I heard that was supposed to be a day of love in Pakistan. How'd that one turn out?
Right. That was the day after this. Those ads were released in Pakistan on their national television station. The next day, as you mentioned, Crane, 20-some people were killed. I guess the last total I saw was 19. It may have been higher than that, but so obviously they didn't pay much attention to this ad. It was a waste of money, complete waste of money. They could have just thrown the money out the window or held another vacation or something, but it was just a complete bust. And not only that, but it's just it's outrageous that we have to that the Obama administration thinks that we have to apologize to these barbarians who are killing people and blowing up things and burning down movie theaters in Pakistan over some YouTube video that no one saw, and the Obama administration is trying to think that this is going to appease these angry Islamists. It's not working at all, Crane. You can see that yourself.
Well, I can, and I can also see it more clearly through the likes of you, Gateway Pundit, Jim Hoft, our guest on Mondays. Hey, Jim, I've got two clips. You featured this on the blog this weekend, and it was Chris Wallace grilling Robert Gibbs about Benghazi. Now, we talked about Benghazi last week as well with the attack. What did we know? Well, since it happened, we've been talking about it. You've been covering it, and the story hasn't really been congruent with what the facts that we are learning. So here is Chris Wallace questioning campaign director Robert Gibbs about the statements that have been made by this administration regarding the assassination of our ambassador and 3 diplomats. Roll it.
I would say this, as we have learned more and as this investigation continues, I anticipate we will continue to learn more facts about the awful assassination, murder of our great ambassador in Libya. You saw the White House say that this was a terror attack, and nobody wants to get to the bottom of this more than the President and the Secretary of State, so that we can protect our missions and our consulates throughout the world and remain engaged.
But I specifically, last Sunday, asked Ambassador Rice about the President of Libya, who was then saying it was pre-planned. I specifically asked her about al-Qaeda, which said that it was revenge for the killing of a top al-Qaeda leader. Ms. Rice didn't say, we don't know, I'll get back to you. She said it was a spontaneous attack that was not pre-planned, that spun out of control. She had information at that time, and the information she gave the American people was wrong.
Well, again, Chris, I think you look back at that answer, and she says, the answer, she has the information, the answer, based on what she knew at that point. We've learned more, and we're going to continue to learn more. The most important thing is we get to the bottom of the intelligence and what happened and what may or may not have caused this incident.
Is that true, Jim?
That was a great exchange. I'm glad you played it. I think we're getting two different stories coming from this administration. There was also a report yesterday on Fox News by Catherine Herridge, a great reporter there, who found that a memo that's being sent around by Homeland Security says that this was a planned terror attack, and yet she went on to say, and all of us have heard this, the administration continued to say that this was a protest. So something is going on there. I don't think they've been quite honest with the American public with what they know and what they're telling reporters. And as Chris Wallace said, it's pretty hard to believe that you hear what the president says and then you look at his actions. When he's saying that he's, they're looking into this, and yet he's going on The View, he's going on Letterman, and all of these other shows when the Middle East is blowing up and burning up and we're losing ambassadors. It's just kind of hard to, put his words and his actions into congruence.
Yeah, Jim, we know about media bias, but we also know that it goes on steroids during the election time. And as you see coverage of Mitt Romney's tax returns, he gave a lot to charity, as I understand. Harry Reid accused him of paying a lower tax rate than 12 or 13%. He paid over that, and he said he had information on that. You also see this with Mitt Romney criticizing a statement early on in the attacks, the Obama administration seemingly agreeing with Mitt Romney and yet saying he politicized the process. So when you look at these examples over and over again, what do you make of it? I mean, what do you say to us in the laity who are sitting there going, okay, we have the mainstream media, sure, they're a little left, but they get the story right, they just may not be telling the full story.
Right. Well, there's a reason that the media today, that so many people do not trust the media. In fact, the numbers are at a new high from the latest Gallup poll. And there's a reason for that. In fact, a story I just put up an hour or two ago was Romney's on interviewing today with NBC reporter, and the reporter starts sticking up for Obama during their conversation. So this is what's happening today, and thank God again for your show and shows like yours and the Internet and Drudge Report and Fox News, so that people can find out the truth and what's going on. Because the media, the fourth estate today is just so in the tank for Obama. It's really a shame because we need to depend on our media. I think some people still do. It's just they're just inaccurate. They hide information. They're not telling you the whole story. And it goes on and on. So,
what about the clips, Jim, about the clips that were released regarding Mitt Romney's fundraiser 4 months ago, and then clips from 14 years ago,
right.
98, redistribution? What should we make of this? What is the coverage of those two events, one for Romney, one for Obama? Tell us, does that also back up what you've been talking about?
Of course, Crane. It's amazing that the tape that was released from Mother Jones, it was actually doctored. They took a minute or two out of the tape, and the media just pounded Mitt all week long over that tape, and basically saying, oh, another horrible week. Each week now, the media has come out and said, oh, it's the worst week ever for Mitt Romney, and yet we see that he's tied with Obama in the polling, and that Obama's numbers are actually down, and that Mitt Romney leads with middle-class voters today by 14 points. So the media is just reckless with its reporting, and it's really outrageous when you follow it as close as you and I do. to see this just it's completely dishonest how they're portraying this. And then, with Obama's tape, we found out more today that he didn't just talk about redistribution, but he was talking also about how he wants to create a permanent welfare class because that would help him promote his progressive causes. So, and of course, you're not going to hear that from the media. That was from the Daily Caller. So there you go. Again, thank God for your show and other shows for people who will actually hear this.
Well, again, and also it takes the coverage of what you're doing, Jim, big time, thank heavens. But that was in 1998. The economy was going pretty strong then. So at a time of a strong economy, not a weak economy, he was talking about a permanent welfare state?
Right, which is pretty shocking. But then you look at his policies now, Crane, and my lead story today on my website is that Obama's record so far is 1 in 7 are on food stamps. 1 in 16 Americans are on disability today, when it used to be like 1 in 60. And 1 in 12 people are out of work, and that's being generous. So he's actually, his words from 1998 are coming to, it looks like they're, coming true. And we're experiencing it today.
And in order to really get the truth, we need people like the Gateway Pundit, Jim Hoft, who's been doing this for numerous years and doing an outstanding job with the quality. And interestingly enough, your success is determined by the market. People going to you or not going to you, and you're competing with people with a lot more resources, but not near as much passion for what you do and the vigor in which you do it. Also, you concentrate and you don't lie by omission, and we really appreciate that, Jim. Thank you, and I love the charts. Keep the charts coming, brother. Thank you. All right,
great. Have a great
Take
week.
Care. You too, buddy. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk. I will always want to point you to places you can get the rest of the story. Trust but verify. Very interesting when you put up these stories and now the establishment media is not happy. Oh, it's all going opinion news. It's always been opinion news. It's always, I criticize people for opinion news when they call it just news. If they say it's opinion news and commentating and they have a point of view, you know that going in. That's a pretty good thing. Then you can put that lens up and say, all right, I know where they're coming from. But don't tell me you're going down the middle with it. Don't play that game with me. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk. Your call's next.